Hey class, I hope you're all doing well today. Welcome to the College at Mid-America World History 2 online course. The purpose of this video today is to welcome you to Mid-America and then also to tell a little bit about me and then kind of the overview of the Moodle platform if you're new to Moodle, so you'll understand how this course is going to work in Moodle, and then we'll go over the syllabus and then wrap up this video. As of this morning, we have 12 students on the online portion of the class. I teach also in residence here at Mid-America, and so I have 8 students in class. We have 20 students this semester for this beginning class, so it's a good sized class. So anyway, just a little bit about me. My name is Zachary Sandiford, and I wear several different hats here at Mid-America. I guess just to start off, the reason I came to Mid-America was for my PhD. I was pastoring a church in Long Island, New York. I pastored for 6 years in Long Island, and believed God was leading me to further my education. So I came to Mid-America here in Memphis, and I'm pursuing my PhD. A little bit more of my background: I'm married with 4 children. My wife and I have been married for just over 24 years, and we have our oldest son is graduating from Mid-America this coming May with his bachelor's degree. And then I have 2 other children in Mid-America. They've just started recently. And then we have a little boy who we adopted. And we are a very busy family with all the education and things that are going on in our lives. So before we moved here to the Memphis area, we were living in New York. I went to Mid-America Northeast Campus and graduated with my Master of Divinity there, and then I pastored the church in Long Island for 6 years, and then came here to the main campus of Mid-America for my PhD. I'm majoring in practical theology, which is basically preaching, and I'm minoring in church history and missions. And so I'm more than halfway done. I still have one more PhD seminar to take this spring, and then I have to write my dissertation. So I'm getting there to the end. Now, some of you that are online, you do know me because you're students here and you're just taking this online. Other students, you may be brand new and this is the first time seeing me. So I'd just like to say thank you for joining this course and welcome. Now, what I do here at Mid-America is, first, like I said, I'm a PhD student and I'm busy with those studies. But also I work, I'm the maintenance supervisor for the facility here. I've quite a background in commercial maintenance, and so I was able to get the job here at Mid-America for the maintenance supervisor. And then the other thing that I do here is I teach history. And you may think, how does this happen with a practical theology major teaching history? Well, my background with my education is I received a bachelor's degree in history, modern European history, which is 1789 to the present day. And I received that from the State University of New York. And then I continued and I went and got my Master of Divinity. Well, when I came here for my PhD here at Mid-America, I minored in church history, and part of the requirements for PhD studies is you have to have graduate teaching, which means you can teach on the PhD level. And I've already completed all of those courses, and the history courses with my master's degree and my PhD, it basically qualified me to be able to teach the college level students here. So the way it works is I'm a graduate teaching assistant is what my title is as a teacher here, and I have to have a professor over me, which I'll go over that when we go through the syllabus. So that's about me, and I hope to be able to get to know you a little bit over Moodle, because there's the first week we have, or this week as you're watching this, we have a forum that I want you to fill out just to kind of introduce yourself and who, what, where, when, why, kind of about you, and it's there on the forum what to do, and just introduce yourself to the class so we know who's here and where you're from and all that good stuff. So that is in Moodle, and I just want to touch briefly here in regards to Moodle. The way this class works is on the Moodle platform, and what you need to do is you need to log in, and it's supposed to be log in 3 times a week, and then watch the videos and do the assignments, and then go on to the next week. It's all outlined in Moodle for you, and it's all outlined in your syllabus for you. Now, when you go into Moodle, you'll see the week is going to be there, and so we have the dates for the week, and then kind of like the topic for that week, or the subject we'll be talking about for that week. And then we'll have 3 sessions. It kind of just matches up with what's going on here in residence classes here on campus. And so we have 3 sessions, and it'll say like session 1 and then a title. And then underneath of that, it'll say watch this video, or click here to watch the video. And then session 2, same thing. And then session 3, same thing. And then there's going to be in blue text or blue font, it'll have the reading assignment for the week from your textbook. Now this is your textbook. It's volume 2 of the one we used for World History 1, called Traditions and Encounters. And if you see up here, it says 1500 to present. So this is required reading. You have to read all the assignments that are outlined in the syllabus. You have to read all of that. And the best thing for you to do is go online and rent this book, and then do the readings. Unless you really love history and you want to buy every book you have to have and keep every book. It's just best just to rent this book. Now, this book, I need to let you know that this is a secular textbook. This is not a Christian textbook or from a Christian publisher or anything like that. So you may pick up on that in your reading. Definitely in the first volume, you pick up on that, because they do talk about the beginning of history with the creation of the world, or evolution of the world. There's a lot of evolution, and it's not from a biblical standpoint. But this is the textbook that is required reading. We kind of like go along with the topics in the textbook, but I don't like teach from the textbook or anything like that. There's just too much to get through in this short time that we're going to have together. So we pretty much have to kind of do an overview of world history from the year 1500 to the present. That's what we're going to be doing. One more thing about Moodle is that at the bottom of each week, I have a checklist there for you, and that's for you to help you. So to see what you have to do for the week, and just make sure that you do it. It's a pretty structured course. It's just watch the videos, do the reading, and fill out the checklist. Next week, watch the videos, do the reading, fill out the checklist, and then you'll see on Moodle when we get to the exams, there'll be the online exams. Now, again, with the online exams, which I'll go over that here just in a second with the syllabus, but you will need a proctor. Proctors are the ones that basically sit with you as you take the exam and put in the exam code on your computer so that you can take the exam. All exams are to be proctored, and there's a form that you have to fill out. Again, that form is in Moodle, and you have to print that form out, and then have your proctor sign the form, that they will basically act as a test giver for Mid-America, so that we're all up and up on what's going on with following the rules, and especially academic honesty. And then you have to scan that or take a picture of it or whatever and send it back to me. And please, very important, have their email address written on that form. That's how I'm going to be communicating with your proctors, is through the email. So please do that. That's going to be due by the second week of class to have that proctor form back to me. So that's important for you to know. So and if you're not familiar with Moodle, you'll catch on quick with it. Many of you, I saw the class roster, and you've been familiar with Moodle from taking other classes. Okay, so I hope you were able to print out the syllabus. I have it here. The syllabus is on Moodle. I emailed it to you. It's on Sonus. I try to make everything as easy for students as I possibly can, and streamline as I possibly can. So World History 2, let's go through this. We're not going to read every single thing on the syllabus, so you can do that on your own, but I do want to pull out some highlights. World History 2, WH4962, spring semester, January 19th to May 12th. And you'll see my name there at the top, Mr. Zachary Sandiford. Hopefully soon it will be Doctor. But Mr. Zachary Sandiford, and I'm a graduate teaching assistant, which is my title, and that is that means that I have a professor over me. That professor is called the professor of record. And you see there on the top of the syllabus, his name is Dr. Mark Thompson. He was the history professor here, and he is now at a different, at a branch campus of Mid-America. And so he's teaching there. So he's my professor of record. So basically, I have to report to him how things are going. He checks on me to make sure that I'm doing a good job teaching you guys. So you see there on the syllabus, it says Mr. Zachary Sandiford and the address, and then there's an email address right here. There's an email address right here. That's the email address I would like you to use, zsandiford@mabts.edu. zsandiford, so it's like sand, like the beach, and then Ford, like the car. zsandiford@mabts.edu. The reason I want you to use that email address is that is my teacher email address. I also have a student email address because I'm a PhD student, and that's ZJ Sandiford01 or something like that, which I do check that email also. But I try to get everything with teaching through that email address. So please use that email address to contact me. I check my email numerous times a day with my job here, so I try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can if there's any issues or concerns. Okay, so course description. This course will study the significant developments of the world from 15th century to the present day. It will investigate world civilizations, their origins, cultures, governments, tenures, religions, and contributions. The instructor has designed the assignments, lectures, and class discussions to provide a foundation for understanding major events, eras, and persons during the corresponding time period. That's a big mouthful to say we're going to learn history from 1500 to the present day. And like I said, it's a lot of stuff to cram in just like 16, 17 weeks of time. Now, because of that, we have to really focus in on a few aspects of history, and one of them is going to be European history. There's so much that takes place with Europe that affects the rest of the world all the way till the present day, and we have to really focus in on that. Now, we left off last semester with the Middle Ages and the Crusades. And this semester we're picking up at 1500, which is basically Henry VIII or the Tudor time period. And we're going to go from there. And there's just so much going on in Europe that everything from what's going on in mainland Europe all the way to where the Europeans are expanding and exploring and basically affecting the rest of the world. So we're really going to be focusing a lot on Europe. So if you're in this course and you're like, I really want to get a good history of Africa, or I really want to get a good, strong history of some other area of the world, it's not going to be focused on those areas. It's definitely going to be focused heavily on Europe. Now, we will talk about other things. I mean, the Europeans colonized Africa in the 19th century. We will talk about some history of these other areas, but it's just not going to be the heavy focus on it. You can read the course objectives there yourself. I'm available over with email. Like I said, I'm very good at checking my emails and getting back to you. So just email me if there's any issues. But there is my phone number there. If you want to call me, or you can send me a text, whatever. Just say who you are, say your name, and you're a student, online student, or something. It just get a hold of me somehow. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so you see there the required text. As I said, Traditions and Encounters. Volume 2 from 1500 to present, 6th edition. So make sure you get that book so you can read, stay up on the readings. Okay, so the next requirement, so that's the reading requirement. Everyone's got to read, and that's the reading requirement. The next requirement is the research paper. Every student has to write one 10-page research paper. And I got to be very specific with this because a lot of times students, they submit what they think is what I want instead of what we actually need to do for the requirement and what I'm looking for. So the student will write one 10-page research paper. And what that means is 10 complete pages of writing. Okay, it's not 9 full pages and then a sentence on the 10th page. It's 10 complete pages of writing. And this paper will have a works cited page. The works cited page is not page 10. The works cited page will be after page 10, so page 11. Okay, so don't give me 9 pages of typed text and then page 10 is a works cited page. It's got to be 10 pages of complete typed text. And then the paper topic, it's up to you. It's on an approved person or topic event related to the course content. So if you want to study about Japan, be my guest, study about Japan, but just make sure it's between the year 1500 to the present day, and it has to be approved. If you want to talk about one of the world wars, don't be so broad in that topic. You want to really narrow it down. Talk about one general in the World War. Talk about a battle in the Second World War or something like that, or you really have to narrow that down. So what I don't want you to do is I don't want you just to be like regurgitating other information from some book somewhere to me. Yes, you're going to get your source from your information from other sources, but what I want you to do is you have to have a thesis statement, and I want you to prove that thesis statement. So, for example, on the paper there, it says at the very bottom of page 2, okay, the student will show an evaluation of and provide analysis of the chosen topic. In other words, you will not simply write about Winston Churchill. That's my example. Don't just write about Winston Churchill. I can go read that in a book. You will also discuss whether he was a good leader or prime minister. So what you would do is you would say Winston Churchill was the best prime minister of the United Kingdom. And that's your thesis statement. And then you say there are 5 reasons that he was a great prime minister, and then you outline your paper that way. You give the 5 reasons. Maybe you write up a page and a half or 2 pages on each reason, and there you go. You have your 10-page paper. And you say, the reason I know that Winston Churchill was the best prime minister was for these 5 reasons. And then you have completed your paper. So don't just like tell about his story or a biography of him or anything like that. You want to really explain and prove what you're trying to say in the paper. Page 3, the paper must be completed in Times New Roman font, 12, size 12, and double spaced. So please, if you're in any doubt, ask me, send me an email, whatever. In regards to sources, the sources must be formatted in MLA format, and then you must have 10 sources for this 10-page paper. Now, the 10 sources, half of those must be books, okay? Half must be books. So I want you to get in the library. You see here, I'm in this library that I stole a picture off of Google and put it behind me on the green screen. You need to get in the library. I'm in the library here all the time at Mid-America, and you need to be in the library. So half of the books come from physical books. The other half of the books can be electronic or valid websites, those sources, but they must be valid. Don't use Wikipedia. I know everyone goes to it. I go to it also, but it's not good for academic work to use Wikipedia because it can be changed so often and so quickly. I know Wikipedia is pretty good today, but we're going to stay away from Wikipedia. It has to be good, solid websites for your sources online. So that means if it ends in .edu or .org, chances are they're pretty good websites. And if they are a blog, don't use it. If it's some kind of other thing, alternate history or anything like that, what if the Nazis won World War II? Don't get into any of that stuff. We want to stick with the facts, with the truth, and with good sources. So you see there in the middle of your page on page 3, all students must use Grammarly to proofread their paper. So what that means is, and most of you have used this already from previous classes and last semester, but you are going to write your paper up in Word, and then you're going to run that paper through Grammarly yourself. You're going to do that yourself in Grammarly, and it's going to give you a score. You'll go through it, and it'll give you a score of like 72. And then it'll give you all the suggested changes. And you go through and you change it all, and you'll see your score going higher and higher and higher. And then if you get to like a 96 or something, and then send it to me, I will know that you have gone through Grammarly. It's very, very rare that someone's going to put it in Grammarly and they're going to get a 96 right off the bat. It will always it'll be somewhere down by the 80s, 70s, things like that, based on how the settings are on Grammarly that you set. So you must do that. So if you send me a paper and it's 97, you're good to go in regards to running through Grammarly. But if you send me a paper and I take your paper and I put it through Grammarly and I don't do any corrections or anything, I just put it through Grammarly and see the score. If that score comes up as like a 68, I know you haven't run it through Grammarly. You didn't take the time to at least run it through there for the checking, the proof checking. So I'm gonna send it back to you, and then I'm gonna deduct 1 letter grade because it's your responsibility to put forth good work. You have 1 paper for this class, and it's an academic paper, and it can't be just thrown together. It's got to be typed out well. The sentences have to make sense. It has to support, your thesis statement and all of that. So make sure you do a good job in the editing with Grammarly, and then proofreading, and making sure everything you write in a paper should be there for a purpose. And it's just like, well, I'm just writing it here just so I can get 10 pages long. Well, then that's not going to be very good paper. You're putting the research that you did in the paper. Now, you see there in the middle of page 3, you have some dates. And I had to change this up a little bit from last semester. Last semester, most students did pretty well in the papers, but there were some issues. And I had to notify students individually about some of these issues because they were pretty drastic issues, such as there was no thesis statements in the paper, that sort of issues. And so I had to change some things up here a little bit for this semester. And you see there it says dates. Now what I want you to do is I want you to submit to me your topic for approval by Thursday, February 18th, 2021. So that's the 5th week of class. So you give you a couple weeks, think about your topic. Again, it's your choice, 1500 to present day, somewhere in there. And then I want you to get approval by sending me your topic. So you just say, I want to write on this battle in Vietnam, or this social change in Victorian Europe, or something like that. What the big problem is that sometimes students, they want to write on something and the topic is way too big. Okay, so I might give suggestions to narrow it down. If you say I want to write about World War II, that's not going to work. I mean, in my bachelor's degree, I took like 6 classes on World War II. I took the European War as a separate class. I took the Pacific War as a separate class. I took the fall of Weimar Germany. I took the rise of the Nazis. I took the Holocaust. These are all separate classes that I took. You can have entire classes on these things. So you can't just say I'm going to write my paper on World War II. It's got to be very specific. So if you do that, I'm going to probably give you some suggestions and narrow it down. That is due February 18th. Then I want to have the thesis, a rough outline. It doesn't have to be exact things yet, but definitely an outline of some structure of your paper, and then the 10 sources that you're going to use. So it'll just basically be the title of the book and the author or the website. If you want to put the link in there, that's fine. So that's going to be due to me. You can type that up on a Word document and just attach it to an email and send it to me. Okay, so, and there'll be information in Moodle about that. And then Friday, that's due, so I'm sorry, the thesis outline and 10 sources are due Thursday, March 4th, 2021, so the 7th week of class. Okay, so get that to me by March 4th. And then Friday, April 16th, by midnight, which is the 13th week of class, is the paper is due. Okay, Friday, April 16th, 2021, by midnight. Okay, so that's Friday by midnight. So then 1 more minute is going to be Saturday. Okay, so make sure you send it to me, and that's going to be submitted to me via email, zsandiford@mabts.edu. Plagiarism, don't do it. Plagiarism, don't have someone else write your paper for you. Just stay away from all of that. Just stay away from all of that. Now, in regards to citing papers, if you give me a poorly cited paper, I'm not going to say you plagiarized it. You'll get your information from somewhere, but I need to know where that information came from. So it's very important that you cite your paper. Now later on, when we get closer to the paper, I'll be doing a video on tips for you on writing the research paper. So just so everyone's clear about writing the paper itself, especially with MLA and citing papers. Okay, so now we're down towards the bottom of page 3, course requirements. There's going to be 4 exams. So basically your grade comes from exams, your paper, and reading. Those are the 3 areas for your grade. There's going to be 4 exams, 15% each. You see the dates: exam 1, February 10th, exam 2, March 30th, exam 3, April 15th, exam 4, which is the final exam, is May 11th. And these are not cumulative, so we have the exam on that previous section of teaching. So from day one to the first exam, that's that. And then from that exam to the next, that's that. It's not cumulative. It is just on that section of teaching. And then you see the reading assignments. They're in blue in Moodle. Make sure you stay up on the reading. And the way that you're going to submit your reading grade is at the end of the semester, you're going to email me what percentage of the reading you did, and then that will be your reading grade. So if you send to me, I did 95% of the reading, your reading grade will be a 95. If you say I did 50%, your reading grade will be 50%. And I would thank you for being honest, but we have to be honest. Academic honesty. If we're not honest in academics, then what's the point? It's a sham. We're now on page 4 of the syllabus, and we are on the grading scale of 90 to a 100 is the A range, 80 to an 89 is the B range. You see the grades there. So do not say, oh, I'm just going to do it just enough to pass, and I'm going to get 60s on the exam. That's not really striving for what you want to do. If you're taking this class, you want to strive to do well, and so try your best to get good grades. The exams are not very difficult. You do have to study for them, but what it is that it's multiple choice exams, and the good thing about that is that the answer is there for you. The bad part about that is that I do 4 choices for your answer, and one of them is correct, but the other 3 are wrong, and so you want to make sure you study well and choose the right answer. Class attendance, that doesn't really have too much to do with you. Again, you're supposed to log in 3 times in Moodle. I don't really check that. I don't care if you log in 3 times in one day or 3 times in the week. That's up to you. As long as you get the work done, you watch the videos, all of that. Late work. The only thing that's going to be late with you is going to be the paper. So don't have your paper be late. It's 5 points per day. Okay, 5 points per day. So if it's due on Friday by midnight, Saturday is 1 day, Sunday is another day, because you can email it to me. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to get 2 extra days, I'll take the 5-point deduction and turn it on Monday. That's not 5 points, that's 15 points, because it's late Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. So don't be late. Get a calendar, write it on there, plan ahead. Don't be late. Page 5, class conduct. That's pretty much for in-class students, but in the forum or whatever, just be kind to each other. And then you see the schedule. Starting January 19th is syllabus overview, which is this video here, and just some introduction. I'll probably do the who, what, and all that when I start the video next for the Renaissance. Now you see there it says January 20th, read the syllabus and pages 476 to 505. Again, it's for the week. I just put it in there for January 20th. Just have it done by the end of the week. Okay, it doesn't have to be exactly on January 20th. You've read that. Just have it done by the end of the week. So you see the Renaissance, the art and artists. Week 2, exploration. So the people that do it, the going around the world. Reformation, we're going to begin the Reformation. Very important for church history and very important for especially the United States because of how we get our religious freedom. It mainly came from the Protestant Reformation, through the Puritans who come over and all of that. So Reformation, then week 3, Reformation, Luther, Calvin, Anabaptist. Week 4 is just wrap up Catholic Church portion of the Reformation. And then you see on page 6 at the top, February 10th, exam 1. February 11th, changing Europe. So we're going to do the monarchs. And then week 5, monarchs. And then week 5, we start with the revolutions. We're going to talk about the French Revolution. We're going to talk about the American Revolution. And you see there, February 18th, your research paper topic is due. Continuing on with revolutions in week 6, we're going to talk about Napoleon and his exploits in week 6. Then week 7, we're going to be talking about World War I. Pretty much all of week 7, your research paper thesis outline is due. Week 8 is spring break, March 8th to the 12th. Week 9 is World War I, major battles, American World War I, outcomes, the legacy of World War I. Week 10 is the post-World War I, and then the Depression. We start talking about communism and fascism because at the end of World War I, Russia fell, the Russian Empire fell, and it became communist. So then March 25th, you see there I put in a no class library study day. So for you online, you're going to have basically just 2 sessions that week instead of 3. In class, you're not going to have to go to class that day. So no class that day on March 25th. March 30th is exam 2. March 31st, we get into Nazi Germany, the rise of Hitler, anti-Semitism. April 1st, origins of World War II and the Holocaust. Week 12, we're going to talk about World War II with the war in Europe, and then we're going to get where the United States enters the war, and then we're going to talk about the other theaters of the war, which is the Pacific and Africa. And then week 13, the final days of World War II, post-war, and then exam 3, and the exam 3 that's on a Thursday, and again there'll be an open time period for your exam on Moodle. So there's a day, it'll always open on the Monday of the week. And I give you several days to get with your proctor to be able to do that. Okay, so don't think you have to take the exam on that date for the syllabus. There's the range of dates in Moodle for the exam, and that'll be open. It'll tell you the dates for that week when the exam is opened. So the research paper is then due the next day, April 16th by midnight. Week 14, the Cold War, Korean War, Berlin Wall, United States versus the Soviet Union. That's all part of the Cold War. Week 15, we talk about the Cold War with Cuba. We talk about the Cold War with Vietnam, the Vietnam War. Because really the Vietnam War was an extension of what was going on with the Cold War because of who was controlling who in Vietnam. North Vietnam controlled by the Soviets, and the Chinese were involved, and there was basically communism, and the South Vietnamese were backed by the free powers, the United States and the Australians, part of the British Empire. So anyway, that's Vietnam. April 28th, we'll talk about the Middle East and Zionism, and then we get into the week 16 with the Gulf War of 1991, and then other troubles in the Middle East after that, and then we get into September 11th on May 5th, and then May 6th is a final exam review day. And one other thing I forgot to tell you about my exams. I do give you a study guide for the exams. That will be on Moodle the week before the exam is going to be completed. So if your final exam is on May 11th, I will give you your study guide like May 4th. I'll put it on Moodle. Then we have the final exam is on May 11th at 8 a.m. Again, there'll be a window for you online for when you can take the exam. But the exam does have to be done by the very last day of the semester. Okay, after the semester ends, that's it. So it has to be done by the last day of the semester. Now, you see a list here of selected bibliography. That's a requirement for the syllabuses, or the syllabi. You can go through there. Maybe you can see some books that might help you in an area of interest for your research paper or whatever. You can look through that list for the bibliography. And then I'll go all the way to page number 11. And it's the rubric. This is the grading rubric for the research papers, and you'll have to get a magnifying glass and see this. You see exactly what the breakdown is for the grading of the research paper. And this is what I go by. You'll see that when I grade, it'll say presentation of ideas, and you'll get a percentage. Organization and flow, you'll get a percentage. And then what I do is I do an average there for that, and you'll get your final grade for the paper. So don't think that if you messed up on a few MLA citations that you bombed the paper. I mean, it's just a small portion of the paper is MLA. Okay, so that's the syllabus. If you have any questions, please email me. Any questions in regards to the syllabus. But I do need you to email me just a quick email. You can do it right after watching this video if you want, or reviewing the syllabus again, then do it. Email me that you received the syllabus and you understand the syllabus. That's all you got to say. Is that I received the syllabus and I understand it, and then type your name so I know who you are. That way I know that you have the syllabus, you understand it, we're good to go, and we can move on. In class, I have them sign a form that they receive the syllabus, understand it. But because you're online, just send me an email that I received the syllabus, I understand it, thank you, and then your name. And that's all it is. That's good enough for me. And I'll just put that in your file that you received it. So the next thing for you guys is going to be the first video, which is going to be on the Renaissance. Also, do not forget to get your proctor, have them sign the form, get their email address on the form. You can take a picture of it and text it to me. You can take a picture of it and scan it, email it, whatever. However you want to get it to me, just get it to me that they've signed this form with the email for the proctoring. Other than that, I think that is it. Hopefully you'll enjoy World History 2. I try to make it's fun. I try to make it exciting. It is a video series, so you'll see my face in the beginning and you'll see my face at the end, and you'll have PowerPoint in the middle as I talk through PowerPoints. So I try to make it exciting and interesting. I hope you like history and you find this course enjoyable. Other than that, I don't have anything else. So I will see you next time. Take care.